Hi, I'm Craig, and I help veterans go from feeling stuck and unseen after service to living with confidence, connection, and purpose so that they can thrive in civilian life and relationships. Pets and families, welcome back to my channel. And today we are covering tuberculosis. This is a very serious and sometimes overlooked condition for VA disability claims and veterans. TB can be active, latent, or leave chronic lung damage. That's super serious and is rated differently depending on the stage of development of the disease. So we're going to break this down into the condition, system, and name, which might be a little bit foreign to most veterans, even veterans who've experienced tuberculosis. So we're going to talk about that and really describe what it is. We're going to talk about how the VA rates it on the scale. We're going to go into case law, and then we'll end with some evidentiary support strategy of how you can win your tuberculosis claim. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now, tuberculosis is a primarily a respiratory infection. It's a respiratory infection. It affects the lungs, but it can also impact other organs in the body. For VA purposes, TB is recognized under 38 CFR 4.88. And remember, I'm always going to give you the 38 CFR reference when we're in these videos, and I'm going to do my very best to make sure to point you to those references and guidelines in video descriptions and in linked comments. So by now you should know exactly where it is. It's publicly available information that you can use to help buttress and support your claim. The diagnostic code is 6600. It may present as active TB, which means the symptoms are chronic cough, fatigue, fever, night sweats, and could be other symptoms as well. Latent TB, okay, infection present, but the infections is asymptomatic. The symptoms are asymptomatic. And then residual TB, which means after you receive treatment for TB, it may cause lung scarring, reduced capacity, or chronic respiratory complications. There are a lot of veterans who struggle with tuberculosis in a number of stages, and we're going to talk a little bit about how that claim can be constructed and submitted on your behalf. Veterans who served in crowded barracks, overseas deployments, ships, or hospitals may qualify for presumptive service connection if the documentation shows exposure in those conditions. How does the VA rate tuberculosis claims under scheduler ratings? There is a 100% rating while active treatment is ongoing. It's much like what we talked about in one of the previous videos where we talked about cancer ratings and how that works. So post-treatment rating depends on any of the residual effects that might be there. So for example, lung impairment, pleural adhesions, reduced pulmonary function. But having tuberculosis, because it affects the lungs, it can definitely result in those reduced pulmonary functions and affects so many organs in the body. Chronic fatigue or secondary conditions. Now, with secondary conditions, it's like recurrent infections or cardiovascular complications. They can be claimed separately. So if you have secondary conditions, they're claimed separately from the active or latent tuberculosis or residual TB that you might have. If you've got some of these other things, they can be rated on their own merit depending on the frequency and chronicity of the symptoms. Active TB is usually rated 100% due to its impact on occupational and social functioning. You guys know we often talk on this channel about occupational impairment and functional impairment of activities of daily living. So tuberculosis is one of those things that really affect that, and where you can be rated at 100% due to how it impairs or impacts your daily life. Let's quickly get into some case law and presumptives for tuberculosis. Donovan versus Shinseki. This is what solidifies the 100% rating during treatment, active treatment of tuberculosis. So make sure if you have tuberculosis, you're getting that active treatment. You're getting you're going to your appointments regularly. You're doing what you're supposed to do while the tuberculosis is being treated in your system, and you're documenting and journaling all of your symptoms and experiences as a result. Gilbert versus Derwinski, which we've talked about in the last few videos. It's the benefit of the doubt rule. You should remember this one. Gilbert versus Derwinski is very pivotal, as it gives the veteran the benefit of the doubt as long as active treatment is there and as long as the evidence is close to getting them to a condition. If to tip you over into that favorable scale, Gilbert versus Derwinski is what raters and RVSRs and DROs should be looking at when they think about the evidence that's really close to getting you over the hump. And then M21-1 guidance, TB can be presumptively service-connected if a veteran served in high-risk conditions such as overseas endemic regions, crowded ships or barracks, military hospitals or labs. And then presumptive rules are especially helpful for veterans filing years after service. Because remember, if you're a veteran, you're filing years after service, all you really have to do is show in your duty records, in your logs, duty logs, service records, those kinds of things. Hey, listen, I was there. I was deployed. I proved that my presence was there. Sometimes this is done with newspaper clippings. If you're old school, newspaper clippings as well, when the medical record system wasn't as robust, but you can show presence in presumptive situations with regard to tuberculosis. And last but not least, I got to leave y'all with some evidentiary support strategies for winning your tuberculosis claim. Now, to strengthen that tuberculosis claim, to strengthen it, you guys, and I know I sound like a broken record, but it's because the things that I'm saying work and they're true. Okay, so yes, we are saying the same things over and over again, it seems, but I want you to pay attention to what we are saying, because oftentimes when veterans run to channels and run to VA claim experts and run to consultation experts and things of that nature, it's because they're looking for the wrong thing. You're missing the forest for the trees. You're stuck on, man, let me get this thing that I could say, or let me get this nexus letter, or let me get this thing that's going to push me over the hump. Wait, stop. There is so much information right in front of you that you can use to make sure you file your claim the right way. And then what a lot of you guys do, I say this respectfully, what a lot of you guys do is you jump over what's right in front of you and you think there's some sort of secret sauce to getting your claim through. It's not. It's not. There's no secret sauce, right? What I tell you in this evidentiary support strategies is going to be true all over the board, every time, over and over and over, no matter when you served, no matter how no matter how often you've submitted previous claims, no matter where you are in the claims process. It's always going to be the same. You got to have service records showing high risk exposure. You got to have medical records confirming the TB and treatment, or any other diagnosis or any other disease or any other condition and treatment. Pulmonary function tests. Now that's true of TB and some other heart conditions as well. Pulmonary function tests to document residual impairment. Lay statements describing chronic cough, fatigue, activity limitations, and then secondary condition documentations. Notice the layout. Notice the format. We're talking service records, medical records, pulmonary function tests, lay statements, secondary condition documentation. Sound familiar? With the exception of one or two things, depending on the type of condition that you're claiming. Pay attention. Please pay attention. There is a formula for this, right? And the very best thing you can do with regard to your claim is make sure that evidence is tight, and make sure your records are tight, and make sure your documentation is tight. No doctor that you hire and pay $1,000 to is going to be able to do this for you, because I'm telling you, these officials and rating VSRs, they can see right through it. Don't try it. I'm telling you right now. If you've got to take a longer time to get all of your documentation and your records together, take the longer time. You'll win in the end. Trust me, you'll definitely win in the end. So strong, I'm off my soapbox. Strong, organized evidence is the key to winning and maintaining your VA rating for tuberculosis. Okay, guys, vets and families, if you found this guide helpful, please hit like, subscribe, share with another veteran who might need this information. Now, tuberculosis claims can be complex, but with organized service records, medical documentation, and clear evidence of residuals or secondary conditions, you can maximize your VA rating. And you can do it without a whole lot of, as my grandmother used to say, rigmarole. You don't have to go through all these hoops and jump all this stuff, man. You don't have to try to dig into these different things and try to figure out what's true, what's not true. Everything you need is available publicly. And I have done my best. I've tried to do my best. I think at this point I have over 80 or 85 videos on exclusively on VA claim content. All right. If you want a PDF of the content that's in this video, or if you need more help in submitting your tuberculosis claim, drop TB down in the comment section and I will be happy to provide, because that's what I do. I help veterans go from feeling stuck and unseen after service to living their lives with confidence, clarity, and purpose in relationships. That's what I do. So if you like what we do, if you appreciate what we do, go ahead and hit like and subscribe, share it with somebody else. And as my grandmother also said, it'll bless you real good. I'm Craig. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video of this series. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. If you want any more information about the subject of this series, be sure to check out the playlist right here. And remember, live royally and live well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.